We have another member from the Vets for Energy here that's going to talk and about his service, both in the military and what it means here. And a little bit just from looking at Captain Tony Caldarelli's bio, that he was in the reserve component of the infantry school and worked in the 101st Airborne Division. Also, I think as a Pennsylvania tie, Slippery Rock, right? Slippery Rock University, ROTC, and served as a logistics officer in the 463rd Engineer Combat Battalion over in Iraq. And also has a BS degree from Juniata College. So very nice Pennsylvania ties. And with that, I'll turn it over. Captain?
Thank you. Yeah, I was born and raised in Pennsylvania, up the road in Harrisburg. I live out in western Pennsylvania now. Harrisburg. I live actually West Shore, next to the biggest, at that time, one of the biggest freight yards in the world. It's seen a renaissance because of the gas and oil. As a geologist, I know how much we have here. It's amazing. We're awash in petroleum products. We're awash in petroleum products. But I don't want to talk about the opportunities that we have. I want to talk about the thousands of people who are not going to get a chance to share in those opportunities, because they are no longer with us. The two most formative experiences in my life, one was serving a year in the Sunni Triangle at a place called Balad, Mortarville. We got rocketed or mortared every day. And one thing I knew was those munitions were being paid for, at least in part, with money that came from here to pay for petroleum products. Now, when I decided to become an officer, and in particular an infantry officer, I sat down with myself and I had a talk with myself. I said, Tony, are you going to be willing to someday possibly send young men to their death? Because that's part of the job description. There were no women in the infantry at that time, so not being gender disinclusive. And I agreed that that was something that needed to be done. It needed to be done to keep the Nazis at bay in the 40s. It needed to be done to keep the communists back. It doesn't need to be done to provide energy for this country. It does not need to be done. And I decided I was willing to do that. Send young soldiers to their death, die myself, if need be, to keep the Nazis back, or whoever. But to provide energy for this country? Now, I think it was Lenin, or it could have been Stalin. It was one of those guys who said, one death's a tragedy, a million deaths a statistic. Stalin? The second most formative event in my life was I lost my wife to leukemia. And I really got inside of what death meant. And I understood it like I never had in my life. And when I went to Iraq, I realized that for every soldier who died, not only did that soldier die, but there's 1, 2, 3, 6 people who had their life turned upside down, like mine has been. In the dark of the night sometimes, I'll think to myself, and pardon the language, since my wife died, I haven't been worth a shit. And that was 16 years ago. So not only did that soldier die, but all those people who were impacted. Now, to fight the Nazis, I understand that. I don't want anything I say here to make you believe that I am not proud of my service. I was honored to serve. I am proud of the military. If a sergeant walked in the back of the room and said, hey, we're short on fat old infantry officers, Here's your orders. I'd let my uniforms out and I'd go. During the Carter administration, we decided we needed to be energy independent for lots of good reasons, and national security is one of them. And then all of a sudden, we learned how to produce in the tight shales. And it was like a gift from God or whoever you believe in was given to us. We can actually do it. We can actually do it. Again, I'm very proud of my military service, but the military should be used like Tabasco. Only when called for, only in specific recipes, and with restraint. Some people use Tabasco to wipe out a bad taste. And that's what we've been using our military for. We've been killing our young men and women to wipe out the bad taste in the mouths of all of us because people have not had the courage to create an effective energy policy. Well, it's time to wash that bad taste out of our mouth. It's time to be courageous. What I do for a living, I teach and train leadership. Leadership requires courage. Sometimes we have to do things that not everyone likes. If you have to make a hard choice, do me a favor. Drive up the Fort Indiantown Gap and walk around the military cemetery. Because that's what this is about. Yes, our military, we need to use it. One, we need to use it. But let's do that by choice. Let's let sober men and women make decisions to use the military when it's in our best interest. Let's not have to use the military. Let's not get young men and women killed or maimed, or as James mentioned, so mind-screwed that 22 of them a day are killing themselves. Let's not use it just so we can have energy when we're standing practically on top of it. That's what I'm asking. Thank you.